Hey, Alberta. Hey, you bunch of fucking separatist wackos. How you doing? Feeling good about yourselves? You're an embarrassment to this country.
A Ukrainian-Canadian war veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service.
So it didn't start with us, though. I want to be very clear. Leona Alice left way before. Decorated military person who decided to leave and cross the floor to the Conservatives really early in our mandate because she was so disenfranchised with the prime ministers. Other people left. After we left, Eva Nessef also left because of the bullying that she received within the party. So there was a few people. So it's not just a three. By the time Jane Philpott, decorated medical professional, left, we were way beyond threes at that point. So he said, well, that was the same day that Jody Wilson-Raybould had stepped down. He couldn't have two women of color leave at the same day.
That's what he told you. Really?
Like, dude, that's not my problem.
Yeah. That was his first response to your...
Yes.
Okay, so no, I'm going to play psychologist here for a minute.
Just like I'm sitting across from you now, said, let's be adults here. We said some things we didn't mean. Let's move it along. The level of contempt and almost hatred that he approached me with, I have never felt more scared in my life of someone to be in a room with someone.
Everything you have, everything that you have enjoyed, cherished, and benefited from comes from being part of one of the greatest countries on the planet. You guys have your heads so far up your asses that you obviously can't see what pricks you are. The way you are treating Indigenous people.
Yes. And so Jody Wilson-Raybould, for those who don't know, was the first Indigenous Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada. Decorated lawyer, really, really, really admirable, smart person. When you talk about merit, absolutely has the merit for the job. Now, whether or not you like what she did within the context of this situation is irrelevant to me. The fact that the Prime Minister's office pressured her to do something that she knew would get her possibly disbarred, and that the ethics commissioner found the Prime Minister in breach of and actually wrong for pressuring her to allow this company to pressure her in doing something with this company is quite telling. So she was actually in the right by not taking the pressure or advice of the Prime Minister. But that's not the point. The point is that after this all happened with Jody stepped down. She was being pressured to do something that she knew was unethical, was wrong by legal standards. She said she wasn't going to do it. She stepped down. She was demoted first. Then she stepped down as Minister of Justice and Attorney General. And then she was thrown out of the party, her and Jane Philpott.
Is Mark Carney's record on Indigenous rights? Before becoming Liberal leader, Carney was an executive at Brookfield. The firm is a major investor in the renewable energy sector, and that's occasionally brought it into conflict with Indigenous peoples.
The impact of these dams, historically, they did have quite a large impact.
Brookfield Renewable owns 4 dams on the traditional territory of Mississauga First Nation. Brookfield bought them from Ontario in 2002, and the First Nations sued both of them in 2022. The chief says the projects have had a devastating impact, and their lawyer says they only sued as a last resort after Brookfield refused to negotiate a benefit-sharing agreement. From 2020 to 2025, Carney was vice chair, then chair at Brookfield Asset Management, which owns Brookfield Renewable. He was mandated to focus on, quote, both generating profit and saving the planet, according to the Globe and Mail. In 2022, Brookfield and its businesses faced reports of human rights abuses in Brazil. NGO Global Witness even accused Carney of hypocrisy for allegedly offloading farms implicated in tropical deforestation. Brookfield also faced Indigenous resistance in Colombia in 2022. Here, the Wayuu Nation protested against a Brookfield-owned wind farm. Then there was an environmental dispute in Maine where dams were allegedly killing endangered Atlantic salmon and threatening tribal fishing rights. For its part, Brookfield has denied the allegations of Indigenous rights violations and environmental damage.
The way you are treating your fellow citizens, your fellow Canadians, you guys are a bunch of creepy little pricks.
That to your caucus and to your cabinet. Will the same standard apply to you if someone comes forward?
The standard applies to everyone. There is no context in which someone doesn't have responsibility for things they've done in the past. This is something that I'm not new to. I've been working on issues around sexual assault for over 25 years. My first activism and engagement was at the Sexual Assault Center, McGill Student Society, where I was one of the first male facilitators in their outreach program, leading conversations, sometimes very difficult ones, on issues of consent, communications, accountability, power dynamics.
You've mentioned the past. Some of the cases that we've heard from so far date far back into the years, and I'm wondering, as you look back at your own career, is there a chance at some point that your actions might have not been construed the way they were intended?
I don't think so. I've been very, very careful all my life. I've been reflecting very carefully on what I remember from that incident almost 20 years ago. And again, I am confident that I did not act inappropriately. But part of this awakening that we're having as a society, a long-awaited realization, is that it's not just one side of the story that matters, that the same interactions could be experienced very differently from one person to the next.
Alberta will never separate from Canada. It's never going to happen because people like me are going to stand up, throw their shoulders back, and keep fucking yelling. And what you guys are doing is